Welcome inside our CBS Sports studios. I'm Adam Schein. He's Kyle Long. I got to tell you, my personal favorite game going into the day for week number 6 in the NFL was Seahawks-Jags. In terms of the two teams and Jacksonville coming off that incredible victory against Kansas City, I thought the Seahawks-Bucks the week before was the game of the year so far in the NFL. And I picked Jacksonville to beat Kansas City. And I give you that, Kyle, to give you this. I couldn't circle Seattle fast enough to go coast to coast, Seattle to Jacksonville, and beat the team that just beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, because I really think Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Mike McDonald, this defense, the Seattle Seahawks deserve and demand more respect as a great football team.
Well, number one, coaching definitely matters. And we saw that with the way that the Jaguars have come along and Trevor Lawrence has been reborn. But this is a Seattle Seahawks video we're doing here. So I want to tip my cap to the Seattle Seahawks because I was dead wrong about this football team in totality. I knew the defense was going to be there because Coach Mike McDonald, he hangs his hat on having a really tough group at the line of scrimmage. A couple things I love about their defense. They don't blitz a lot. They rush 4. Which means they've got 7 guys on the back end. Now, these 7 guys have changed a lot. I give credit to this group. Witherspoon's been out. Woolen's been out. Julian Love's been out. A number of guys have been in and out of this lineup defensively, but they still rank middle of the pack in terms of, all the important statistics defensively. And it tells me that they're only going to get better. The cherry on top for this team has been Clint Kubiak dealing with Sam Darnold, essentially picking up the dribble from Kevin O'Connell. And guys like you and me, we sat at these desks last year and we said, this is because of Kevin O'Connell. Well, it turns out that Sam Darnold can play football with the best of them. And if you got a coach like Kubiak who can instill that confidence in you, you got a true number one like Jackson Smith-Njigba, good things happen. A couple stats I want to read to you about the defense, though, because this is huge. They rush 4, they win with 4. Okay, not a lot of blitzes. Lowest in the National Football League in blitz percentage, and they're 9th in the NFL in quarterback pressures, which tells me those 4 suckers they got rushing the passer, they get home. Byron Murphy is a nightmare for an offensive lineman. That unit is a nightmare. And I remember playing against the Seahawks of yesteryear, the Legion of Boom, and it was a similar thing. They would rush 4, and the guys on the back end would just strap you up for 4 seconds. Quarterback's going to have to take a sack or throw it away. It's a great recipe for success. I give a lot of credit to the Seattle Seahawks.
You nailed it on the defense, and they held Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and Brian Thomas and company in check. And again, that's the Jacksonville team at home for Jacksonville that just beat Kansas City. You referenced Sam Darnold. Sam, I am you freaks. And I've always loved Sam Darnold, going back to USC, going back to the 2018 draft. Listen, I was wrong. Jets are wrong. And he got Jets. That's the act of being an underachiever because you get drafted by the New York Jets. Goes to Carolina. That didn't work out. Goes to San Francisco, got a PhD in QB play with Kyle Shanahan. Goes to Minnesota, was remarkable. You referenced it, Kyle, under Kevin O'Connell. And John Schneider, I'll put this in air quotes, rolled the dice, says goodbye to Geno Smith, trades him, brings in Sam Darnold. They say goodbye to DK Metcalf, brings in Cooper Kupp. They had a lot of good vibes and feel that Jackson Smith-Njigba was going to be the number 1. That was their former first-round pick from a couple of drafts ago. Look, let's give John Schneider some credit. Sam Darnold has been, over the last 2 years, last year, this year, one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Every calculation in the offseason by Schneider has been right.
Yeah, and I was dead wrong about it. And, me and Schneider have disagreed in years past because he's a guy that says you don't overdraft guards. Me, as a former offensive guard, I take offense to that. So I can't hold my grudge there. But he got it right with Sam Darnold. And I can't help but think about all those kids in Seattle that wear the jerseys of Geno Smith and DK Metcalf that were pissed off when these guys were run out of town, essentially. But now they're like, okay, this shiny new JSN jersey, it works. The Cooper Kupp jersey is awesome. The Sam Darnold jersey is sweet. And it probably got the throwback, too, Adam.
Which, by the way, those throwback uniforms are unbelievable. When you talk Jackson Smith-Njigba, Kyle, we're talking about, and Puka Nacua got hurt in the Rams and the Ravens game. Like, there is a case to be made that through 6 weeks, the best wide receiver in the NFL has been Jackson Smith-Njigba. He has first-team All-Pro, and he has, early on, Offensive Player of the Year vibes right now in Seattle.
Yeah, and you know what? It reminds me of another young receiver across the country in Tampa Bay by the name of Emeka Egbuka. You go into a room where you may not be the most notable name in it, in the receiver room, and I'm thinking about a guy like Mike Evans in Tampa Bay. But you go into the room with DK Metcalf, and you are not the alpha in the room. DK Metcalf leaves, Cooper Kupp comes in off the street. You get the opportunity to reinvent yourself. And while we're on the topic of reinventing ourselves, I look at this Seattle team. They've lost 2 games by the total of 7 points.
That's right.
Week 1, they lost to the San Francisco 49ers 17-13. And then obviously they lost in that barn burner against Baker Mayfield, who's playing like an MVP right now. That felt like a real playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But as you stated, when that Jacksonville Jaguars team beat the Kansas City Chiefs, everybody in that Seattle Seahawks meeting room leaned forward a little bit. They understand what was at stake. They went and they handled business on the road, not just on the road, but dealing with the weather in South Florida, or Florida rather, because Jacksonville's in North Florida, and people are going to correct me on that. It is a lot different than playing on the West Coast. This team showed me toughness. They've played through injury. It's been remarkable this year.
Well, and you talk about toughness. I mean, oftentimes in the past, you think of the 12th man, they have this unbelievable home field advantage. Look at what they did to Pittsburgh week 2. That's the only loss that Pittsburgh's had this year. They mauled them. Then they go coast to coast, and they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, even if L.A. ends up winning this division, even if San Francisco ends up winning this division, if Seattle has to go on the road, we're now at a stage, albeit early in the season, but we're talking about the toughness and the coaching and how this team was put together. They can go anywhere and win any style of fight. That's how we now all have to view the Seattle Seahawks.
Absolutely. And now they've got experience with Sam Darnold. They've got a defense that can raise the floor of your performance a great deal. And I talked about them being able to rush 4 successfully. That opens up the entirety of the playbook on the back end for Mike McDonald's defense. I look forward to watching this team continue to mature, get healthier, because that middle-of-the-road defensive numbers are going to start bumping into the top 10s, and then the Seahawks will really be rocking at them.
I'm telling you, I love this Seahawks team. They are unbelievable. And those old-school uniforms,
Oh,
the best.